Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So in this game, you're going to have a lord and a lady that will start out. Now, I should state that in this game, in order to be married, it must be a man and a woman. There is a variant that you can play where you can have same-sex unions, and either one will work, supposedly, in the game atmosphere. So that's in the rule book. But in this version, we're going to play by the original rules where a man and a woman will be married. The game will end when somebody reaches the 18 points. You finish a round, whoever has the most points will be the winner of the game. The first thing you're going to do on a turn is you can either take 2 gold or you can draw a gossip card. Gold will be, you'll be spending, and I'll show you how that kind of works as the game progresses. It's a currency in the game, but gossip cards are going to be to take that card you can play mostly on other players in order to hurt them. So you have that choice, 2 gold or 1 gossip card. Then you can perform one of the following 4 options that you can have in the game, and they are actions that you can utilize. The first possible action you're going to have is to marry someone. And let's say I had this unmarried gentleman here, and he has a status of 1. So that means he can marry anybody with a status of 1. Let's say this lady was up, and it would be no problem. You can just marry this person. If he wanted to marry this lady and kind of up his status a little bit, if you notice her status is 2, his is 1, I would just have to pay the difference in gold. In this example, if he's going to marry Lady Agatha, the difference is 2. He would then have to pay 2 gold as dowry in order to marry her. So that's the first action. You can marry someone. These are going to be the servant cards. They'll always be 3 face up, and you can simply purchase them by paying gold equal to the amount listed. So for the nanny, I would pay 3 gold to the supply, and I could take this card. For the cook, it would cost 2, as would the foreman. Now, these are going to give you different things. They're going to give you status points, and then they give you a little power. So she says, add 1 to your couple's combined birth points. Swap your gossip card with another player. Fire the servant. Choose a player's servant to fire. Fire this servant as well. So kind of, they just have different powers that you can do. You can see here's the valet, +1 status for every male offspring. A butler, hire 2 servants instead of 1 as a second turn action. You got the gardener. One of your unwed lords or ladies can marry a player's unwed lord or lady. Fire the servant. So just little different things they can do. So you can purchase these, and there's a limit to how many you can have at one time. The third possible action you can have is to have a baby, and you look at the birth points. So in this case, the birth points is 4. You would then roll the die, and if you roll higher than, which I did not have a baby. They were unsuccessful. If I rolled equal to or less than, which I did here, then they would have a baby, and you would have an additional person that you would put down here as your child. And that's kind of how that works. Now, once this person, so this child got married, then this generation could no longer have babies. So you kind of move it up, and this generation would start having babies and etc. So you might want to hold off a little bit if you have other couples that you want to get married, but once this person gets married, this generation no longer can, and now this is the current generation. If none of those 3 options seem viable to you, then you can just take an additional gold, and that can be your turn, but this is probably like a last resort type of thing that you would do. The other little caveat to the game is going to be these gossip cards that you'll be able to generate each round, and you can play. And these will be the take that. So in this case, all of a player's birth points are reduced by 4 for a round. Illegitimate child. Offspring is banished from the family and returned to the birth deck. So you can make somebody get rid of their kid. Drunken servant. The target servant is fired and returned to the bottom of the servant deck. So that's what these are going to do. Confirm any gossip card. So let's talk about this for a second. So when somebody plays a gossip card, in this case, an illegitimate child, it does nothing. It's just whispers. And you're just whispering and that's it. So what another player would do at that time is play another illegitimate child. Once somebody else confirms it, then it's true. And then the effect would go in. So somebody just playing 1, the effect isn't going to do anything. It is the second one that would bring it into effect. Now, if somebody doesn't have one of those, they can always play one of these confirm any gossip cards. So let's say you played an illegitimate card, and maybe somebody else didn't have one. They could also play a gossip card, a true card. Now, this has to come from a different player. So 2 players would have to work together in order to hurt somebody, and it kind of helps with the bash the leader in the game. And that's pretty much how you're going to play lords and ladies. You're going to be having these children who will eventually get married also. You'll be hiring some servants, generating some income, and playing cards that hurt other players in order to amass the most points and win the game.